Okay, everybody, so this is the warm-up balancing that we're going to be doing today that hopefully you've already tried. The two equations that were in the warm-up were zinc reacting with hydrochloric acid, so that's our reactants, to produce zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. So if you were here when we did the sheet metal ornaments, when you stuck your metal square into the hydrochloric acid, it started bubbling. That's the hydrogen gas coming out of solution, okay? So to balance this one, we have to make sure, again, balancing means both sides of the arrow have the same number of every element in this equation. So I have 3 elements. Now, yesterday, when we did our notes, you were watching a video of Tyler DeWitt, and he likes to list the 3 elements here, zinc, hydrogen, chlorine, and then he would list them again, zinc, hydrogen, chlorine. Instead of writing that all out, usually what I do is underneath the arrow, which is my center line, that's where I list my 3 elements. So zinc, hydrogen, chlorine, I list them right there. Then I tally them on both sides of that, and I can compare my numbers, okay? So right now, before the arrow in my reactants side of the equation, I only have 1 zinc because I just have Zn. There's no number down here. There's no number in front of it. So I only have 1. I also only have 1 hydrogen atom. And I have 1 chlorine atom. On this side of the arrow, I still only have 1 zinc. So I'll just go back here and put a 1 there. I have 2 chlorines though, because this 2 applies only to the element that it's with, which is chlorine. So 2 chlorines. And I have 2 hydrogens. Okay. All right. Remember, when we're balancing, all you are allowed to do is put numbers in front of substances. So I can put a number out here. I can put a number here. I can put a number here. And I can put a number here. I don't have to put a number in any of those spaces if it's already balanced, but I can put numbers there. I cannot put subscripts. I cannot put subscripts in. I can't add a little number right here for the zinc. I can't put a number in here just to apply to the chlorine. Same thing here. I can't put a number between hydrogen and chlorine. I can't change these 2s to 1s. Can't do that because these substances have these chemical formulas. I cannot change those or I don't have those substances anymore. I'm making stuff up, okay? The only thing I'm allowed to do is multiply my substances by some number. Now, if I look at this, zinc is already balanced. I have 1 on each side. Hydrogen, though, I have 1 on the left side of the arrow, my reactant side, and I have 2 on the right side, which is my products side. So I need to double the hydrogens before the arrow, okay? So what I do is I put a 2 in front of the substance that has hydrogen in it because I want to double my hydrogen. So 2 times 1 is 2. But that doesn't just apply to the hydrogen, it applies to my entire substance, my hydrochloric acid. So I also have 2 chlorines over here now. So I cross this out and write a 2. Then you'll notice 1 zinc on each side, 2 hydrogens on each side, 2 chlorines on each side. So I am done with this chemical equation. Okay, I don't have to write anything in these blanks because they are all 1s, and we don't have to write 1s. I have 1 of each of those substances. I have 2 hydrochloric acids, okay? All right, down here, I wrote this a little bit funky. If you were to look this equation up, it wouldn't exist, okay? But what we have is when you pulled your metal square out of that hydrochloric acid, and then you went and put the blue liquid on the surface to get copper to plate onto the ornament, what was happening was iron was reacting with copper to nitrate. Now, nitrate isn't really NT, but I'm doing this to simplify it just to make it a little bit easier to balance, a little bit easier to figure out, okay? Keeping it easy. So iron and the copper 2 nitrate reacted, and what happened was copper plated onto the surface of the ornament, and there was a side product of iron 3 nitrate that we rinsed down the drain, okay? So if we look at this, we have iron, copper, and nitrate that we have to balance. So I'm going to go ahead and write those again. I'm going to write them underneath the arrow so that I don't have to write them twice. So iron, copper, and NT to represent nitrate. All right, on this side of the arrow, I have 1 iron I have 1 copper, and I have 2 nitrates. So 2 only applies to what it's written right next to. Okay. All right. This side, I have 1 copper. I have 1 iron, but I have 3 nitrates. Well, shoot, it's not balanced because these two don't match. We have to have the same number of each thing before and after the arrow. Well, I can't really multiply a 2 to get a 3 or a 3 to get a 2. We have to have whole numbers here. And if I divide 3 by 2, I'm going to get 1.5. So I can't do that. Okay. But what I can do is figure out, well, what's a common multiple for 2 and 3? Okay, if I want to get both of those to the same number, 2 and 3, well, if I multiply them by each other, I'm going to end up getting 6. So that's going to be my goal. I want to end up with 6 nitrates on each side. Okay, so let's think about that. If I want 6 nitrates on this side, I'm going to need to double what I have because 2 times 3 is 6. And I can't put a 2 here. I can't put a 2 in between. I have to put a 2 in front of the entire substance. Remember, you're only allowed to put numbers in front of your substances, not in the middle of them. No changing these subscripts either, or it's not the same compound. So I'm going to put a 2 out here in front of my iron nitrate compound because again, my goal is to get 6 nitrates, and that will work. 2 times 3 is 6. But what else did this 2 multiply? This 2 also multiplied the iron. So I'm going to adjust my value here. Now, instead of 1 iron, I have 2 times 1. I have 2 irons. Well, I'm going to keep focusing on the nitrate. Okay, right now, I just messed something up, but I'm going to keep focusing on the nitrate. Remember, the whole point of getting 6 here was so I could match it on this side. So if I want 6 nitrates over here, 2 times 3 is 6. So I need to put a 3 in front of my nitrate compound because again, my goal is to get 3 times 2 to equal 6 nitrates. So I'll fix that and make that 6 nitrates. So that's my goal, and I got those to balance. Now, what else did I multiply with that 3? Well, the copper, because copper is part of this compound, and this 3 multiplies this entire compound. So I have 3 times 1 is 3 coppers. Okay. So I fixed my nitrate, but I messed up my copper and I messed up my iron. So now I have to go fix those. So let's start with iron. Over here I have 2. Over here I only have 1. Well, iron's by itself, so that's handy. I can just multiply that by 2. 2 times 1 is 2. That fixes my iron. So 2 irons, 2 irons. Okay. Now I look at copper. I have 3 coppers over here, 3. But over here, I only have 1 right now, and I need that to be a 3. Okay. Well, 3 times 1 is 3. So I multiply that by 3, and since it's by itself, we change that to a 3, but nothing else gets affected. So now I have 2 irons, 3 coppers, and 6 nitrates on each side of the arrow. Okay. You are going to have an opportunity after you submit this warm-up to do 5 more equations worth of balancing. And if you were to look at those equations, they will be, in general, a little easier than this second one. Okay, they'll be more like this first one. Okay. And that's my opinion. You might think they're the same difficulty or a little harder, or it just depends on the person. But it's a puzzle. You need to write them out, solve them like this, and then you're going to have an assignment where you have to check your answers. And the way that that's going to work is you're going to be typing in the numbers that go in each of these blanks. Excuse me. So if you end up with an equation that looks like this first one, when you go to type those numbers in on the follow-up assignment, the answer check assignment, you're going to be typing a 1 if you didn't write a number. So it'd be 1, 2, 1, 1 when you type that one into the computer. Okay, this isn't going to be one of the ones that you type, but that's how you would work this equation. For this one, you would obviously type 2, 3, 2, 3 into the blanks. Hopefully that's pretty clear when you get to the assignment, but Thanks for tuning in. Good luck with your balancing, and we'll practice more with this next week.